Welcome to abombtozzzax. With me, Colin Holt. And my friends Dan Snellgrove,
Nick Kirk,
and Jamie Firth. Here they come!
Hello, welcome to abombtozzzax, my favourite Marvel character, where we review every single Marvel character from A all the way to Z. That makes sense, doesn't it? Why not? My name's Colin Holt. I am a character actor and comedian, so I like to think I know what I'm talking about. Joining me today, two lovely friends here to talk about four really dreadful characters, arguably. Well, we'll decide. We'll find out, won't we? First of all, a man who once broke every single bone in his body, trying to jump from one skyscraper to another using only a sword. It's Nick Crick. How did that work?
Hello. But the sword was fine.
The sword was fine. It's made of McClulian metal. Apparently, I found that out today. Also joining me, I should point out, Nick is like me, an absolute Marvel walking encyclopedia nerdfest. But also joining me from the more rougher alpha side of the tracks, if you like, a man who in his early youth actually went by the name White Tiger. Sadly, it was whilst he was working with the National Front. It is. I wasn't sure about that one.
We're keeping that one in, yeah? We're keeping that one.
It's my oldest friend. Well, since he, got rid of the tattoos, it's Dan Snellgrove. Hello,
Boy,
Dan.
there is no stone left unturned in my dark, sordid past, is there?
No. I'm gonna. Dan is not a hideous racist, white supremacist. I want to point that out.
Thank you.
Okay, anymore. No, he's not. He's not, and he never was. But yeah, God, that was a bit. It reminded me slightly. Right, did I have a little bit of showbiz gossip before we dive in? But I'm not going to give any names. But I was thinking about that joke earlier. And this exact. Not only do I spend most of my life now planning, recording, and listening to these, I also run them in my head.
Oh boy.
And it's so lame.
Are you all right, mate?
Yeah. No, I mean, some of these episodes have had 20 listens. It's going really well.
18 of them are you.
Well, yeah. 2 of them are Nick.
Yeah.
But look, it's going really well. Actually, well, it is. We'll come to that in a minute. But let me tell you, awful moment, right, on Zoom, similar moment where a gag like that was said. It wasn't a sort of early 2000s sort of bit racist gag, which you can't really do anymore because everyone is sort of hideously racist. They don't quite land in the same way anyway, but it wasn't like that. But it was a lot of actors on this Zoom sort of rehearsal thing, and I'm not going to say any names, but one of the actors, a bit of a comedian, I was just playing like bit parts, don't worry about it. But one of the actors made a joke about another actor in quite a light-hearted, what if I said this? And it was a joke about it was about their size. I don't think this will, I'm trying to tell this story about revealing it. But anyway, made a joke, right? Anyway, but the actor who's making the joke about it didn't hear it. So then we ran it again. And when we ran it again, the actor who had the actor made the joke about the other actor, and the other actor went, "Oh, by the way, do you mind just maybe doing it again, but not with that joke?" And they were like, "Oh yeah, okay." And he went, "Just in case the editors, we get into the edit and they realize it's not actually very fucking funny." Whoa! Oh my God, on a Zoom call with all these actors. like I actually had to hide under the table, even though I was in my living room on a Zoom call. I couldn't bear. I was like having palpitations. It was the worst thing, and it was just, but also amazing, like seeing all these, some quite famous actors just going really like looking at their nails, sort of. Do you know what I mean? Like kind of just trying.
Yeah. Oh, I think someone needs me in another room. I'm just going to go over there.
Yeah, just kind of like, just looking around, like just no one wanting to say anything. And it probably lasted like 30 seconds, but it felt like 5 years. It was incredible. Anyway, I
can imagine people hiding, but Apple have got that thing on some of the iPads and stuff where the camera follows your face around. So you could try and move off screen, but then
that's really
just keep following you.
Going under the table. Like any of the camera's joining you. No.
Not now.
Yeah. I've always wanted to do a sketch. It's probably been done, but this is actually comics related. But in the Batman movies and stuff, where Commissioner Gordon will be talking to him 1 minute, and then he looks away and then looks back, and Batman's vanished.
Oh yeah,
I've always liked the idea that he does that, but they're in an office as opposed to on the top of the building, but in the police department office, and he goes like, "What do you think, Batman?" Turns around, and he's gone. And he's like, how does he do that? And then he just sort of looks under the table, and Batman's like crouched under the table. Batman not to be seen. Shh, go away. Anyway, great. This is probably the best start to any of these episodes so far. I'm having a wild time already. So before we jump into these 4 marvelous characters, Nick, do you want to get... Oh, first, exciting news. We have an actual, genuine comic writer from our youth, certainly mine and Nick's, because we read a lot of his stuff. I'm not going to say who in case he pulls out, but he is ready to come on this show pretty soon. He's also someone who Snelgers has a connection to, in terms of if you've been listening to this podcast, if you are up to date, you'll know there's one particular character that Daniel Snellgrove is a big fan of, and maybe this writer created him, or at least had a big hand in it. The bit of mystery there for you listeners.
Very exciting.
Oh, cryptic hints.
Yes. Well, so also we've got a YouTube channel now that Nick has launched, and we're going to start doing some little sort of 10-minute vids on that where we do the movies. I thought we could just call it Abon and Zzzax at the movies.
I like it. It's simple. It does what it says on the tin.
Where we talk about the movie, basically after we've talked about, say, Kingpin and Daredevil, we then do a little thing just going, how do they relate? I thought of a rating system based on J.M. DeMatteis' Captain America line that I loved. Do we dig it? By the look on our faces, we assuredly dig it. Or we don't dig it. Or we really dig it. That's if it's a particularly good interpretation. Okay.
Right.
I've been dealing with getting the children to bed quite for the last half an hour. Forgive me, I'm giving you a lot of information. Nick, do you want to just hit on the various bits and bobs, the admin, if you will?
Yes. Let's do the ad. It's the bit everyone loves at the start of a podcast. Admin. You can find us in various places. If you go to their Instagram, we are abombtozzzax. If you like the podcast, if you like the podcraft that we are crafting for you and enjoy this podcast, I can use words.
Yeah.
You can go to patreon.com, abombtozzzax, and support us there. You can either join as a free member. Don't do that. Please pay. We want the paid members. What do you get if you're a paid member? I'm glad you asked. You get things like bonus little mini episodes where we'll do extra little deep dives into some of the stuff we've talked about in the episodes. And you also get the chance to suggest comics or characters for us to talk about in a future ep or mini ep as well. In addition to that, you can also email us at abombtozzzax@gmail.com. Thus concludes the admin.
Wonderful admin there, Nick. That was one of them. How was Delight? It was like a song. It was like Shakespeare or something. I loved it. Maybe not Shakespeare, but it was close.
Close. Christopher Marlowe? I don't know.
Christopher Marlowe. Yeah, he was close to him. Killed him, apparently. One of the books, I think. So come on, crack on, Colin. So also Patreon, we're going to do our first Patreon request tonight. One of the characters is a specific character Patreon has asked for. Now, you were saying someone else was...
Yes, I hold my hands up. I've been a bit slack.
slow on it.
I've been a bit slow on the admin on this one. We have had another request from Marzia to do Cersei from the Eternals is our other request to stack up there. But we might have to have a little bit of a think about that one because the Eternals is a little bit of a fiddly one to cover.
We will do it, definitely. I've started looking into it, but because the Eternals basically are one of those where they're all in it. So it's quite hard to, it's like a whole, almost a genre in itself. So it's kind of hard to pick one character. But then I looked it up again, and actually Cersei's pretty, she's been around. She's been around the block, old Cersei. She's been in the Avengers and such. So I think we can do it. We will tack Cersei on to the first available episode. We've got loads of fun stuff coming up. We're going to do Galactus, Silver Surfer, all of the heralds of Galactus.
It's almost as if there's a Fantastic Four movie coming out that we
exactly.
Would like
it feels like it, doesn't it? But tonight we are completing our run of Daredevil Born Again characters. So, excuse me, I'm suddenly burping. Some of these characters I didn't even realize were in it, but apparently they are. We've done Daredevil, we've done Kingpin, we've done Bullseye, we've done the Punisher. Now we're really at the bottom of the barrel. We're going to talk about, well, it's confusing. We're going to talk about White Tiger and the Sons of the Tiger. This is confusing. Hopefully it will make sense by the end. And the Swordsman. And finally, Pablo, was it? Pablo's Patreon request, random, which is a pretty bloody random request, I don't mind saying. So shall we begin? Daniel.
Yes.
You are slowly and surely becoming an absolute fan obsessive of Marvel, I like to think. I am leading your hand.
God, yeah.
Would you say you're starting to like them?
Well, I guess no, not really.
I really hope you never really like them. You're a bit too effusive about Daredevil and Punisher, I feel. You seem to actually be having a good time with those ones.
We're knocking back today.
I feel like this has dragged me right back down again. Don't worry, Colin. I can still counterpoint.
Well, talking of counterpoints, shall we begin with the Swordsman himself? So he was a character. Dan, you saw all of Born Again. Did you finish Born Again?
No, I haven't finished it yet. No.
Okay.
No.
How far did you get?
I got to the bank.
The bank one?
The bank one.
I wonder if you recognize this character at all. He appears... Do you know when they've got the BB report and she's sort of showing you the vigilantes in a kind of... It's like a sort of news report you get on the internet.
Yeah.
Just interviewing people. And there's a bit where they're just like, sort of like... They look like 90s sort of Nirvana kids. They're just like going, oh my God, man, look, he's fighting someone with a sword. And it's sort of, you just see in the distance... as if on a camera phone, just someone kind of fighting people with a sword.
Right, I didn't.
That's Swordsman, basically.
Right, I didn't spot that. No, I'll perhaps go back and have a look.
Have you watched the one where Kingpin's like doing some sort of party and he's talking to? He's kind of doing that thing where where Trump's made all the leaders come to him and kind of sit in his Oval Office. Kingpin's kind of doing that with all the business leaders of New York. Maybe not. I think it's towards the end. Anyway, he's in that. But he looks like a very debonair chap with a tash.
That's exciting. Then I've got him still to come. I
can't
wait.
Yeah, he is in it. He's in it. He's not. So let's talk about the original Swordsman who he's based on. I'll give you some stats very quickly and then we'll jump in there. He's 6'4". Jesus Christ, 6'4".
The big one.
He's got to hold a big sword, hasn't he? He's 113 kilograms. That's 2 inches and over 13 bigger than me. So his real name, I don't know how to say. I think he's French. Oh no, he's not French. He's Jacques de Cusney.
Jacques?
Jacques or Jacques? No, Jacques is more Scottish, isn't it? Jacques.
Is he Jacques?
About the time they call me Jackie. If I could be for only an hour. Yes, I'm just reminding what
Oh, I've just looked at it's Jacques Duquesne.
Duquesne.
That's how you pronounce that.
Maybe that's what they say in the TV show. It's Duquesne.
Yeah, Duquesne.
Ah, right.
Duquesne.
Yeah. Mm.
That's fancy, isn't it? I wonder if Stan Lee knew that when he created him with Don Heck. Don Heck and Stan Lee. Avengers 1965, and a mere 67 appearances for the old Swordsy. Should we jump in with the episode, and then I'll tell you what happens to him after it? Yeah, well, I'll hear your thoughts in a sec. I'll hear your thoughts.
We know your thoughts about it.
I just keep saying sex. It'd be funny on the podcast if someone just kept saying sex. Sorry, no. This is really serious, especially if it was like about current events. Anyway, God, I'm actually full of sketches today, aren't I? So at that first page? This comic is awful and mad and stupid and almost fun, but kind of too stupid to be like to have something to hold on to. Do you know what I mean? But it starts. I think he's, as I was trying to explain with Nick, I think he's jumping onto the Avengers roof, but somehow he's like sticking his sword into the roof and it's going twang. And as he's doing it, he's sort of thinking something like, this will stop those Avengers.
What he's thinking, do you mind if I've got it right in front of me? What he's
please
thinking,
do, Dan,
his
please
grand plan for this comic. No one questions a man with an Avengers ID card. If I can join their team, there's nothing I won't be able to get away with it. You know, like if he's got the card, he can just go like, I'm Avenger, I'm part of the club, so I'm allowed in.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 6 of them. You think they'd bloody go, we don't know you, mate. We don't know you. Yeah, but I've got an ID card. Yeah, but literally it's me, Tony, and the god. Like we don't, and that weird shrinking guy. We don't.
Yeah, I'm Thor's mate from college.
Yeah, but I don't care. There's only 6 Avengers, dickhead. I mean, yeah, but I mean, to be honest, I think if you could jump from one skyscraper to another and using a sword, you probably could do anything anyway, can't you? I mean, the world's your oyster. Yeah. I definitely couldn't do anything like that with a sword.
Does he twang around? Can he like bend it and then like fling himself around? Like, you know, is that his sort of flying or his spidey powers? He could just twang around.
But I think so. Maybe that's right. He's twanging about.
Right.
I think at this point it's not even a special sword. I think it is just a big sword.
Yeah, right. I mean, his power seems to just be can use a sword.
Really well.
I mean, really well. Yeah, really well.
He can throw it. At some point, he throws it like a propeller. I think does he stop bullets with it somehow just by spinning it really fast? Maybe that's in another one.
He stops arrows with it, doesn't he?
Yeah. He stops arrows. What I've written here is Stan Lee doesn't understand the word powerful. It's what I've come to realize. Like, really understand what powerful means, because he says something like, with my powerful sword, I'm unstoppable. That's not, you're fighting a man who can run as fast as the speed of sound and whatever the Scarlet Witch can do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's 6 foot. To be fair, if you're 6'4", you're probably like, yeah, fuck it, I can do anything, mate. Anyway, that's the swordsman for you. He also looks like a Roman gladiator. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, unclear on that one. Also, Cap behaves really weirdly in this.
Yeah, I've written that. He's really
so weird. Like they have a fight with someone in the headquarters who runs off, and Cap's like, "Oh, go and look for me if you want. I don't care. I'm going to go and work out, mate."
I feel like Cap's depressed, and I feel like I love the idea that he's just this like quite sad guy because he's older, and everyone thinks he's square.
And the whole issue, he mopes around going, "I'm just waiting for Nick Fury to offer me a job in S.H.I.E.L.D., mate. I don't know why I'm hanging around with you Avengers anyway. I just want to work for S.H.I.E.L.D."
And isn't he really upset that I did read this a while ago? I did skim through it earlier, but isn't he really upset that Nick hasn't replied? I love him. He's so up and down. He's quite bipolar, I think, Cap. He sort of has big ups and downs, doesn't he? Bless him.
There's one scene where Swordsmaster tricks him by pretending to reply as Nick Fury, and he's like leaping in the air
Swordsman,
going,
Nick,
sorry,
please.
Swordsman.
He's not quite there yet.
I got my answer. Fury wants me at last, and he's sort of jumping and leaping in the air holding this letter.
But you're Captain America. It's like, come on, man. Just you've got to wear that flag with pride, sir. Desperate for anyone to give him any sort of approval. Right, this is what I've written the plot is, because this is what I understand happens, right? Basically, he's written that letter to Nick Fury, posted it. He hasn't replied, but the reason Nick hasn't replied, he never got it, because it was on his desk, at Nick's desk, and at that point, some Hydra agents used a ray gun. They've developed the most incredible technology of all time, which is that they can teleport one thing from somewhere to somewhere else, and they decide to use it to nick Nick Fury's letters. They steal his letter. They then open the letter, read it, see it's a letter from Captain America, the leader of the Avengers, and go, "Oh, this is useless," and chuck it. Then a man who sort of looks like he's from Guys and Dolls, and for some reason he's called Blackie, picks it up and then sells it to the Swordsman. And then I got lost.
Yeah.
And now I don't know why anything else happens after that.
And then the Swordsman sends a fake letter to Captain America to trap him so that he can do away with him and join the event. I still don't really get what the Swordsman's aim was with capturing Cap. I still think he seems to want to join the Avengers by
get his
killing
card.
one of them.
Yeah, then he can be one of the 6, with his card. They go, "There's only 6 of them." Yeah, and I'm one of them, mate. And then
one in, one out.
You know what? This
exactly.
is ultimate negging, isn't it, really? He's kind of negging the Avengers and Cap. He's like showing them how crap they are. If I understand negging, I've never employed it in my life. I really haven't. He's really sort of making them, if I make them feel like they're really crap, and if I can make Cap cry, then I'll become an Avenger.
Well, he's close to it anyway, isn't he, in this episode? But he does manage to pretty much defeat him. I've never seen a superhero be beaten by this. This is genius. Has any superhero ever faced a little truck? A little what do you call them? What are they called? These little
little like forklift
truck. That's it. He gets defeated by a forklift truck.
I mean, that's literally like the bit in Austin Powers, isn't it? You know, where it's going really slow and he's like, "No."
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets some boxes knocked on him and that's it.
Very easily defeated. I mean, no wonder he thinks he could beat him with a sword. These guys are absolute wimps. Wonderful.
But
fun.
we do get his backstory in this, don't we?
I think
he's got a connection to Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Hawkeye being the master of the bow and arrow. Well, he was actually trained by this guy, the guy who's the master of the sword. Well, sorry, not yet the master, just the swordsman. Way back when in their carnival days.
How does a sword expert train a bow and arrow expert?
Unclear.
By throwing the sword in his arrows after he's chucked them in their target.
Oh yeah,
it's deadly. It's worse than like Dune or something. You know, you got to put the hand in the box. Yeah. It's like basically you've got to fire an arrow at me before I kill you with this sword. Is basically the training. There's no mucking about. You feel like maybe you'd have a bit of a uncular. Is that the word? You know, a father connection to him, maybe. Old Hawks.
Yeah. Well,
like
it looked like it.
Feel us, which would be interesting, but I don't think they really go there, do they? They just go, "Oh yeah, he was this really bad guy who." You know, if they had a kind of rogue Mystique thing where it's like he was like a dad to me.
Yeah.
But then he turned out to be. I think genuinely this, because the Marvel way was that Stan would sort of come up with an idea, the artist would do it all, and then Stan would add the words. And I think this is they literally didn't talk to each other. You know what I mean? They just. What about
just stick some stuff down?
I don't know. It was. Right. Anything more to say? I could give you a little bit of history of him quick.
Go on then.
Tell you what happens afterwards. Well, he was actually, Dan, do you remember with the Punisher, we were talking about Sin Kong, which is the fake country in the Marvel Universe, which is where they now use to say whenever anyone was in Vietnam, basically, actually it was this ongoing war in Sin Kong that's constantly happening. So there's just loads of people walking around for this endless war. It's horrendous. It's like 1984. But anyway, he is from Sin Kong, apparently, the swordsman.
Oh.
That's so he does speak French, but he was born there. So after this, I haven't even read the next issue, but apparently his plan, whatever it fucking was, because no one knows what he's trying to do, it falls apart. But the Mandarin, who's another very dodgy villain, who is Iron Man's arch enemy, teleports him away for some reason and pimps up his sword with magic gems from the alien McClulans, who are basically big dragons. Fing Fang Foom, Nick, that will mean nothing to you, Snoggers.
Nope.
He's a big dragon in little purple pants.
Yeah, it was originally a sort of 1950s monster in a Godzilla way, and now it's kind of mainly used for fun.
Yeah.
He's a fun character. I can't wait till we do Fing Fang Foom. Fing Fang Foom. He does join the Avengers for a day, somehow, falls in love with Scarlet Witch. They all know it's the Mandarin's trap. Then he gives up. He becomes an alcoholic, goes back to Sin Kong, works for someone called Monsieur Cruel.
That's a bad idea, isn't it?
Not a bad guy. He basically gets to a awful place, poor old swordsman. This all happens in quite a short time. Then he meets an Avenger called Mantis. Really weird character. No time to explain who she is. I'm just going to tell you all these things, right? There's no time to explain it. He meets Mantis, falls in love with Mantis. Together they go back to the Avengers, and this time he's actually properly allowed to join. So he does eventually get that ID card legitimately, or legit, as my daughter would say all the time. Kang wants Mantis for his bride, tries to kill her, shoots a ray at her. Somehow he stops the ray with his sword, because that's what swords do. And then the ray travels up his arm and kills him. Swordsman is buried in a grave in Avengers Mansion. Then a Coati alien plant man, the Coati are the name of the aliens, reanimates the body. So he brings it back to life as a sort of zombie, but with a plant man living in him, so that he can marry Mantis, who is now the Celestial Madonna. And then they fly off together into space to create the Celestial Messiah. Dan, I hope you don't mind me bringing it up, but this made me think of your life-changing experience in South America. The whole Celestial Madonna.
I do feel like I'm on some kind of ayahuascan trip right now listening to this.
Yeah. The Celestial Madonna, that's what it made me think of. And
all this from a man with a sword.
That's his whole career. What's that?
And all this from a man with a sword.
Just a man with a sword. I mean, sometimes with your life, when you find yourself in a weird situation, you think, how did I end up like this? You think back, or you just really skin us and you think, God, I had loads of money not very long ago. Or you're doing really well, and then suddenly you feel like you're not doing anything. Imagine getting to the point where you're like, I was just a guy with a sword. Why am I being reanimated by an alien plant man? How did my bloody life end up like that? If he's in, I don't know who'd be in Leicester Summer Wine, but I imagine he'd be at the bar or in the cafe just saying, how did I end up like this? I just wanted to walk around with a sword.
I must say, I thought that was going to be it. I did not expect that to be his story arc. But I'm kind of not surprised he was brought back to life, because, I mean, do they all get brought back to life? Are there any characters that don't?
Not many.
No.
Bucky was one of those until he came back as the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And Uncle Ben must never come back. But even he comes back in parallel dimension things, doesn't he?
The guy on the rice packet.
Yeah. Do you not remember? You were at his funeral. You were crying for hours.
Oh, yeah.
You love that rice.
I'm just really hungry.
Where am I going to get my rice? Okay, well, yeah, no, there's very few who don't come back. But he still hasn't come back for real. He hasn't come back. There's been other people called the Swordsman.
Oh.
But, yeah, he's never really come back. So that's one absolute loser down.
Yeah.
I was very surprised they put him in Daredevil. In actual fact, they put him in Hawkeye. In the Hawkeye series, he turns up as Jacques Duquesne. But he's just a sort of like swanky businessman. And then at some point he just goes, how are you with a sword? Or something like that, and then just starts. Right. Second can of beer. We're on to the White Tiger. Now, White Tiger, of course, appears in Daredevil Born Again. It's quite a tragic end for the poor guy. A bit of a spoiler there. And actually, sad to say, I discovered the quite a tragic end for the actual actor.
Huh?
Who died before they finished filming. I think he finished filming before. I know. I was quite upset when I read that because I thought, he's great. He's going to have a great career.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Will he get brought back to life? Oh, it doesn't work in real life.
Well, no. Sadly, in real life, sometimes with comics, I've read so many in my life. I sometimes think, oh no, people don't come back to life. Things like that. When you're a bit like, although Nick's saying they do.
Oh, you say that. There was an article today about a court case for manslaughter where they had an AI statement from the deceased man.
Oh,
AI generated a statement from him, which his family endorsed. I mean,
what?
We've gone very Marvel Comics.
Was he? It was manslaughter. One, it's him
so he was killed in a road rage accident, and he.
Oh my God!
They generated this message of him talking about forgiveness for his killer. Oh.
What?
Yeah.
And that's slightly better than I thought it was going to do, like him sort of going, great, I'm dead and you killed me.
Yeah. Now buy Coke.
Oh my God, it's very Black Mirror, isn't it? Like they start doing sponsorships and stuff so that people can afford to do these AI. That's all crime is done by AI.
It'll be an AI judge soon, so it'll be fine.
I'm going to go back to the 70s and my Marvel comics because the world is too unpleasant. So White Tiger. Okay, so here's something to point out. White Tiger, Hector Alea. Is that Alea? Ayala. He's not on the list. I went through the list. He's not on there. He's the original White Tiger. The only one that is on the list is Angela Del Toro. She is 5'8", 71 kilograms. She first appeared fairly recently, Daredevil 58, 2004. Created by Bendis and Malieve, 52 appearances. So this was, Dan, I imagine you quite like this little comic book I made you read?
So the Daredevil one?
Yes.
I did.
And of course we see the original White Tiger. That's why I picked that one, because we do see Hector in flashbacks in that issue.
I love this art. This is my art. I don't like the other art. This is my art.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, it does some really beautiful, like, just whole panels of just faces doing face stuff, holding an expression, and I'm in on it, like an old man just reading a newspaper, and I'm there on it. Delicious. Really
There's
delicious.
a lot of those like closing on someone's look or using the same panel twice to just sort of emphasize someone being annoyed or, curious or whatever. Yeah. It's a very cool issue. That whole run of Daredevil is, Nick, I know you're a big fan.
Yeah. I went back and reread all of that earlier this year and loved it just as much second time round. So good.
Nick, fill us in slightly what's going on here. That's like, he's an old crime lord, is he? That has...
Yeah. So in the storyline we looked at this point, Daredevil Matt Murdock has been outed in the newspapers as Daredevil. He's fighting against it. He's claiming that it's not true. And he's being investigated by the FBI. Particularly this FBI agent, Angela Del Toro, is investigating him. Simultaneously, this old crime lord who's in prison learns of Matt Murdock's revelation as Daredevil, and on his release decides to take revenge because this old crime lord was the original kingpin before Wilson Fisk.
Yes, of course, which is very cool.
What do you mean?
Brilliant idea.
As in he actually had that title, or he was a kingpin of the city?
Yeah, in a way, he was the kind of equivalent kingpin of crime before Wilson Fisk took over.
Right. But he didn't have a disintegrator cane.
No.
Okay. He couldn't crush a man's head with his hand. Or maybe, we don't know.
So.
It's great. It's such a good idea. Bendis at this point, the writer Brian Michael Bendis, was having a lot of good ideas, I feel.
Yeah. I think this was his peak. This was the point where I think after this, they pretty much offered him everything. They were like, yeah, go and write Avengers, do whatever you want.
Yeah. And he spread a little thin, wasn't he?
After a while, yeah. But this was definitely his peak at this point.
And Hector, unlike the TV version, Hector is just wearing pure white. He hasn't got the little tiger stripes like he does in the movie. He's got kind of little, in the TV show, he's got little black tiger stripes on him. And he's sort of quite revered, isn't he? They all seem to look to him as this quite, there's a lot of respect towards the white tiger. I don't really know what his powers are or anything. Well, we'll go back to his origins with Sons of the Tiger in a minute, but he's just literally got an amulet and they don't even really say. It just makes him a bit stronger.
Yeah, I think it's just sort
faster.
of a bit of super strength and a bit of speed, really.
Yeah.
He's got skills though as well, hasn't he? He's like, there's a whole lot of him like duffing up. It's Doc Ock, isn't it? It's Dr. Octopus.
Yeah.
Where he's just slamming his palm into Dr. Octopus's face repeatedly over and over again, and it looks great.
I think Bendis was quite a fan of those old 70s ones, wasn't he? So it was him kind of trying to turn them into something better than they were originally, arguably. But it's great. And I love the flashback, how the art for the flashback is done as if it's an old comic.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. With like the little dots that you can see in the old style newsprint.
A thing of beauty is a joy forever, as Keith said. Keats. My Uncle Keith once said. Great. So anyway, Angela Del Toro, she's in this episode, this issue even. This is when she's been given the amulet, and Daredevil sort of says you should probably become a superhero, I guess.
Yeah, he's
you're already FBI. That's probably actually more helpful to society than running around and beating people up. But you've got the amulet now, mate. You've got to do it.
There's a great sequence where obviously she knows he's Daredevil, he knows he's Daredevil, but he doesn't want to admit it because she's the FBI and has to keep saying to her, if we go down this path, you are moving away from being the FBI agent investigating me.
He's such a sneaky little customer, isn't he, old Matt Murdock? He's always bending the bloody rules. It's his Irish charm.
Typical bloody lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah. He's a liar. The man's a liar. Yes, he's blind. He can still be a liar. So Angela basically does become the White Tiger eventually. I was going to send you she did have a mini series I was going to send you, but it was, oh my God, it was boring, Dan. You don't realize, but I am like Cap shielding you from a lot of shit.
What Cap? Are you the Cap from other episodes or today's episode?
I'm the Cap who cries if people don't reply to his letters.
Right. Okay. Keep that in mind.
Inside, aren't we all?
Yeah, I think so. I'd love it if they did the movie version more like that. Would just be quite fun, wouldn't it? That you just really just like, Cap, you're too sensitive. I mean, you're fighting the Red Skull. You need to buck up a bit, mate. Come on.
Oh, I saw. Sorry, this is a bit of a tangent, but I saw on one of those social medias, some super fan of the Red Skull somewhere in America had loads of like implants in his face to make himself look like the Red Skull, and it's not very nice to look at.
So what, like dyed his skin red?
Yeah, and he's got these like lumps put in his like brow, you know, or his like eyebrow. So they
that.
really, yeah, he's really gone for it.
I mean, that's not going to go down well in the job interview, is it?
It's not. But I hope he listens. You know
what? And is, I mean, also the Red Skull is an out and out Nazi. I mean, if proof he needed, we've gone through the looking glass into fascism.
Look him up. He's really gone for it.
And he's running for the Republican Party in 28.
I mean, he's a powerful character. Don't get me wrong. I think the Red Skull's one of the best characters. But I was thinking about it. I was thinking,
great character.
It's hard to put a Nazi in the top 10.
Yeah.
I mean, stick him in the White House, sure. Oh my God, I'm so topical and political tonight. What's happened? Resistance starts here, guys, right? That's what Hector would want. Both fictional and...
Say no to the Red Skull.
Say no to the Red Skull. We shouldn't need to be telling people this. Anyway, after this little experience, she carries on... oh, no, sorry. What I was going to say is, so Hector... Oh, we're going to do Sons of the Tiger in a minute. But basically, Hector gets the amulet from the Sons of the Tiger when they split up. And apparently he becomes White Tiger for a while. Then all his family get killed. So he retires. Then he comes back one more time and is killed. So it's really unpleasant.
Yeah.
White Tiger does not get a good run of it, I'm afraid. But then Angela is given the amulet somehow. As you say, she's an FBI agent.
She's his niece, so that's why she gets the amulet.
She gets trained by Daredevil. She's already been a bit trained by Iron Fist. She's literally got Uncle Iron Fist, a bit like my Uncle Keith. When Daredevil goes a bit bonkers and starts a thing called Shadowland, where he takes over the hand. I think I said this to you, Dan. He basically becomes evil Daredevil. She becomes his right hand woman. And sort of goes evil as well. She kills a character called Black Tarantula. Then she's depowered. Another White Tiger takes over. She's basically forgiven and then doesn't do much after that. So she's a bit of a... She looks good. That issue's great. She's got a bit of character, but nothing. I'm afraid she doesn't really go anywhere. But in the series, she's played by a kid who is really good. Have you got to that bit? She's the girl who comes up and goes, "Yeah, Mr. Lawyer Man," and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, when reading this comic,
you talk the talk, but you're doing nothing about my uncle. Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, she's really great. And when reading this comic, it turned out that this character was his niece. I was like, oh, hang on a minute, hang on.
Yeah,
could it be?
It was.
Oh, cool. So she ends up. Well, okay.
Yeah. Supposedly. I mean, the girl looks about 11, so it's going to be a few years before the Disney machine can really exploit her talent. But she was great. It was one of those real, like, what's his name? Elliot from E.T. type moments, I thought, when she was... You could sort of tell, because I've obviously acted in quite a few things over the years, and you can see where there's that kind of... When she was doing her little speeches... It was like, oh, this is your audition speech. This is what you did in the audition. Because she's got it. Do you know what I mean? She's like, knows it back to front, inside out kind of thing. And it's just it's sometimes really nice to see someone just doing something really well, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So well done her. Well done her. So anyway, let's go back a few years and meet the Sons of the Tiger.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Created in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu. What a title for a comic. 1974, #1 by Jerry Conway and Dick Giordano. They have only had 38 appearances ever. Jamie sent us one today, which I've never seen. In fact, I've never heard of these guys until I read it. And boy, was I in for a treat. So we read their last appearance. They're obviously part of the 1970s martial arts boom. Bruce Lee, basically. Way of the Dragon. I've never seen that many Bruce Lee films. I don't know if I've seen any.
I've seen them. Yeah.
Is it Enter the Dragon? Is that the one?
Yeah, Enter the Dragon and 3 others. I can't remember the names.
He looks amazing, doesn't he? He's kind of got that James Dean thing where I feel like I've never really seen any James Dean things, to be honest, but he's just such an iconic look.
Yeah.
Would have been shame he died, wasn't it? It really would have been cool to bring an idea, thing you're really into, and literally change the world, like all of culture.
Like we're doing this podcast.
Yeah, exactly, Nick.
I feel so. I don't know. No, Nick, come on. We're not the Celestial Madonnas. Yeah. No, you're not. Well, you know, we got to stay.
We're not the Bruce Lees of the podcast world.
No, I mean we are just talking about. We're bringing this love. Well, I like to think we're bringing this love of comics to people. Well, probably to people who already know most of this stuff.
Right. The opposite of changing things.
Yeah,
we
reinforcing the world.
Keeping them in their small lane, in their tiny rooms. Bless you, listeners. No, I'm sure one day someone will listen to this and go, comics are the best thing. I'm going to stop supporting the Republican Party. So, can you reverse a Red Skull face? He's Googling that right now. Okay, so the Sons of the Tiger are Lin's son. I don't know if that's why he's called Sons of the Tiger, because he's also called Lin's son. That's really funny. I've just realised they put the name of the thing in the... Okay, Lin's son, Abe Brown, Bob Diamond. Bob Diamond. And then later, I guess a daughter of the tiger is Lotus Shinchoku, who causes a lot of bloody problems. Yes. Ugh. Okay, so what happens is apparently Lin's son discovers his kung fu school is being attacked by ninjas. His master, Master Key, is killed. As he's dying, he gives him the tiger amulet. The tiger amulet is made up of a face and 2 paws, which is quite funny that there's 3 bits, like there's 3 different amulets and one is just a paw. Anyway, they're sort of lovely teal color. And basically he is told when 3 are called and stand as one they'll fight, their will be done. For each is born anew, the tiger's son. That's dreadful scanning, isn't it? That doesn't...
Yeah.
They have not studied their iambic pentameter.
Also, it's no Avengers Assemble, is it? I mean, come on, that's going to... By the time you've said that, you've got a punch in the face. Or
a sword through your bloody gullet. If old Jacques Duquesne's involved. So he's got these amulets and he's like, oh, bloody better get some mates to help me, I guess. So he gets Bob and Abe to join him. Bob Diamond, I realize he's kind of like Johnny Cage from Mortal Kombat. He's a actual actor, Steven Seagal or Jean-Claude Van Damme type. But before them, I guess, his story is he joins Iron Fist for a bit. Apparently, then he dies. He leaves his fortune to the others, but they won't take it because they hate him. Which I found really funny.
I mean, he is a massive racist.
He's the worst human being that's ever been in a comic, including
absolutely awful. Yeah.
Right, well, let's get into that in a sec. But first, Abe Brown, his story. When he leaves, he becomes the Black Tiger. I mean, how lazy is that? Abe Brown is black, so yeah, that's lazy thinking, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, there's no such thing as a black tiger. It's not even a thing. A white tiger is a thing, I think.
Yeah, you get
like a snow leopard.
Yeah.
So there you go. All right, so that's what happens to them in the end. I think Lin's son ends up with Lotus, and Abe becomes Black Tiger, and Bob Diamond dies. Hopefully horribly. Any thoughts on this issue?
Well, I mean, I want to say that I accidentally went backwards rather than forwards in this, and there's a whole like history of karate. Like it's about 10 pages, and I was like, that I found pretty interesting. And
Well, Dan, you are a karate master, of course, as well.
well, I mean, I'd say karate man, much like Swordsman. I'm not a master.
Okay. What belt are you? Do you
Well,
do belts?
I did achieve the black belt. I must say.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I think you can go with Karate Master. We'll endorse that.
Well, the black belt is just the beginning.
Oh,
Really?
It's not the end of your journey. No, not by any means. No, that just means you've learnt the basics and go forth, continue
And
your
karate.
journey.
So there is more to learn after black. Are there literally more moves and stuff to learn after the black belt, or is it
Well,
just you get better at the same moves? I've never really thought about this. Actually, is there a limited amount of karate moves, if you will?
Oh,
Sound like Alan Partridge. So when you're in action, so when you're holding a gun, what's going through your mind? Yeah, sorry.
well, the grades continue from like black belt is first dan, then the second dan, third dan, and so on and so forth. In my style, which is Goju-Ryu, which is mentioned in this history, I was very proud to see because it's one of the oldest ones.
Goju-Ryu.
Goju-Ryu, yeah. There is an 8th dan, Higuana. Well, eventually it becomes a title of honor. You know, when you get to sort of 4th, 5th, 6th, it's more that you've kind of set up dojos and such things. You know, brought karate to other people around the world. That's that sort of thing. But yeah, I won't claim to be a master on this. I have lapsed somewhat.
Really? You do your little exercise. I mean, that's so bad. You do your little exercise. You do your as in basic exercise every day, don't you?
I do, yeah, but that's kind of lapsed as well with all this comic reading I've got to do. I just sit around reading comics, getting fat now. That's all I do.
Look at me and Nick. I'm afraid we've read a lot of fighting, and I'm afraid it doesn't translate into our physicality.
no. I mean, I look like I've read a lot of Kingpin comics, basically. That's the physical image I'm going for.
Apparently Kingpin's a vegan, I read the other day.
Oh, I don't have that much in common with him then.
Okay. Whoa. And did you, I did enjoy, so for people who haven't looked at them yet, and if you are listening to this, please do read them on the Marvel Unlimited app or wherever you can get them. Read along with us because there's a lot of fun to be had. But they, despite what Dan says, but they are proper 70s magazines, aren't they? Like my brothers used to get, where there's a lot of men fighting. Articles about, it's like almost Men's Health type articles. And then you've got Master of Kung Fu, who is Shang-Chi, who was originally called Master of Kung Fu. Then you've got Sons of the Tiger is like the final story. And then in the middle, just loads of like interviews with Chuck Norris and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this one is basically just two of them having a massive fight, isn't it? Where they both fancy the same girl, classic
Lotus.
And then it's just fighting, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like Colin and I talked about this last week. It's basically like the film They Live. It's the comics equivalent of that. It's just a 10-minute fight scene.
But quite fun, I think. The fighting is...
Yeah.
I enjoy it. The artwork.
It would be more fun if it wasn't constantly peppered throughout with Bob Diamond's racial slurs.
He is Bob Diamond, right? If he was still alive now, he's got... I'm not even going to say R.I.P. because he's a bad man, let's be honest. But I imagine he'd now be a sort of Trumpian, washed-up actor like John Voight in his 70s who hates Hollywood. Or like James Wood or Steven Seagal. He'd now be living in Russia, I think. Be like a red nose from all the booze and just really bitter and hates everyone. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And he would definitely be using the phrase, "You can't say anything anymore."
Oh, yeah. 100%. There's a bit, right? He's so awful. Bobby's so awful and says like a series of racial slurs towards Lin Sun about
quite bad ones. But
there was a point where I didn't know their names, And then he turns around to Abe Brown and he says something like, "What do you think, Brown?" And I just thought that was another racial slur. Do you know what I mean? I thought it was just, wow, we're really not holding back this issue. Doug Mensch, the writer. Also, did you notice that it starts with Doug Mensch, the writer, taking the artist round the slums?
Yeah, that first 2 pages is bizarre. It's
That's
like
bonkers.
there's a kid reading the actual issue that this is in at the start, and then the writer and artist get surprised at seeing the characters that they've been writing about going into the dojo. It's like, what is going on? Oh, it's the 70s and it's a sort of magazine and everyone's on drugs.
He's trying to show the artist what real slums look like or something. Is that right? And he's trying to. So he's trying to make like a plea for like, I'm doing. So maybe in a way he's putting all the racism and stuff in. I don't think it's meant to be a good thing. I don't think we're meant to like Bob Diamond. And I think
Mission
maybe
accomplished.
Putting it in, yeah. Bob Diamond. Also, as Jamie pointed out, unfortunately he could not be here again. Bless him. He pointed out Bob Diamond was actually the head of Barclays, who got who was actually called Bob Diamond, the head of Barclays.
Oh, is that how this character story ends? Like, they've got really interesting story arcs, haven't they? Like the swordsman going to space, and then this guy
Bob Diamond becomes the head of Barclays
of a bank. Yeah,
It's never what you'd expect.
no.
So I mean, yeah, basically they're the three when three become one or whatever it was, splits up really easily just because they both fancy this girl. And Bob's not in any way even attempting to woo her. He's just like, she's mine. What are you doing? Awful. And then Lim's son, rather than fulfill his vows, just drops the amulet in a bin.
Yeah, they chuck it in the bin.
Yeah.
She took it in the bin. And then Hector just walks along, picks it up, and immediately becomes the White Tiger.
Yeah.
No one's trying. I've put no one is trying. None of the characters and none of the creatives.
Yeah. It is the laziest origin ever. Oh, I found this in a bin. I am the White Tiger.
It's always like a superhero parody where like a homeless drunk finds not kryptonite, but something like that. Like sort of
did you ever read the
finds an amulet in the bin?
Did you ever read the Garth Ennis DC series Hitman, which is basically just him taking the piss out of superheroes? But
Garth Ennis wrote those very funny Punisher ones we read, Dan.
Yeah.
The one where he throws the guy off the Empire State Building.
Oh, right. Yes.
Yeah. So he wrote a DC series called Hitman, which is about a guy who gets superpowers and decides to use it to be a hitman killing superheroes, basically. And it's all set in the main DC universe, and it's quite good fun. But he introduces this kind of super team of like the most horrible superheroes you can imagine. One of them's just this drunk guy called Six Pack. There's a guy called Dog Welder who welds dogs to people's faces.
Yeah. There's a guy called the Defenestrator.
Yeah.
Is that right? He walks around with a window and puts your face through it.
He carries his own window around with
very
him.
Funny.
But yeah, you were just making me think of Six Pack there, whose basically superpower is just being very, very drunk and mostly vomiting on people.
Yeah. I highly recommend. Don't read any of these. Just read Garth Ennis, Hitman. Right. Finally, Random, the Patreon choice, the first ever Patreon choice on abombtozzzax. Random. Nick, did you get any bits and bobs about this old fruit?
I did get some stats. He is created by Peter David and Joe Quesada. First appears in X Factor 88 back in 1993. Height 6'1" / variable. Weight 68 kilograms / variable. And real name, Daniel, prepare the middle name klaxon. We've got a middle name. His real name is Marshall Evanstone III.
Is that a Eminem reference?
I don't think so, because I think 93 he'd probably predate him.
Oh, maybe Eminem. I can't say it. I'm not going to say it.
Eminem.
Maybe he's based on Random, the character.
He might well be.
He might be.
So Random's a sort of grey-skinned, sunglasses-wearing mutant bounty hunter, in all senses, in that he's a mutant who hunts other mutants. So he's a mutant bounty hunter and a mutant bounty hunter. His mutant ability is to randomly adapt to counter other mutants, which he does by sort of shifting his gooey grey protoplasmic body around.
Is that what's going on? I didn't understand his powers at all.
It's a sort of he sort of supposedly, well, it says his power is supposed to be randomly adapting, but if you're adapting to other people's powers, surely you're specifically adapting to that power.
Randomly, insofar as it might happen, it might not.
I guess.
Can he control it, or does it just sort of?
I mean, the
go like,
impression is he can control it, but his main power seems to be turning his arm into a massive cannon-style gun arm. I mean, it was the 90s. There's a lot of that sort of thing.
That shoots bullets that are bits of him. That's gross.
I guess they must be. Ooh.
Like bogies.
Can he get them back?
Does he get them? Well, that's, yeah.
You know, like Terminator 2, when it
Yeah.
sort of like the bits sort of re-go into his.
I think it's
foot.
literally that. Was this
Like that.
after Terminator 2?
Yeah, just about, I think.
Okay, I think it's literally that, yeah.
So, yeah.
There is a really good bit, apparently, that I read about, but isn't in here, where he has like a lady who looks after him, or like his landlady or something like this, who's like his sort of, almost like his adopted mum, I think is the idea. And then at one point, he just sucks her back in, and she's, it's really weird. So she never existed. She was just, which I thought was quite a cool idea. She was just part of his body all along, and he just created her to kind of make his life
I guess.
just for company, yeah, like an AI, but from your body.
His history is quite confusing to work out. From what I can tell, he's either a mutant that was experimented on by Dark Beast, who is a version of Beast from the Age of Apocalypse universe, who's come into this universe. Very confusing.
Evil parallel beast.
Yeah. Or he was actually created by Dark Beast as that sort of protoplasmic gooey stuff.
In which case he wouldn't even be a mutant. He's just goo man. He's a big green goo man, I wrote. Big purple goo man, even.
Big goo man. Yeah, either way, Dark Beast has basically done some mucking around with him. But it is revealed that at one point in one of the issues we read that his sort of big muscle-bound bounty hunting exterior is a bit of a front, and actually his natural appearance is much more weedy teenager.
Yeah, which I thought was one good idea.
Yeah, I quite like that. That actually he's just sort of playing at being the sort of big muscle-bound bounty hunter type.
Yeah. Dan, what I deliberately gave you specific pages. I hope you didn't read any of the others, because it would have warped your brain. But any thoughts on Random? How did you feel about this guy?
I walked the path set out by you. I didn't stray from the path.
Good.
Well, I guess it did feel a bit random. Yes. And I thank you for clarifying a few little bits, but it still feels a little bit. I feel a bit unsure, really. So is he really strong? Like, he's when he grows big, does he gain that strength, or?
His initial appearance, he's probably like bandana and stuff, isn't he? And he's got a kind of weird leather vest thing. But he's almost like, who's that guy, Dog the Bounty Hunter? He's kind of got that feel, hasn't he? Which I think must have been later. But he's a biker type with a big cigar.
And also there's a DC sort of anti-hero called Lobo, who's grey, biker type, alien, bounty hunter with a big cigar. So it feels a little bit like he's sort of trying to be a bit of a parody of him as well to start with.
Peter David, who created him, who we have read some of his stuff, is a funny guy. I like Peter David, and I think the initial thing, I think he's meant to be kind of ridiculous.
Yeah. /
a kind of comment on
the 90s
overly
muscular. Yeah. There was a lot of 90s superheroes who were like overly muscled, massive guns. It was a sort of big thing in the early 90s, that style of superhero. So I think it's a bit of a commentary on that. Yeah, Dan, I think way back, Peter David wrote the one where there's the tiny Hulk talking in Abomination's ear.
Which
Peter David.
which I need to read. That's
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
not
Jamie
read that.
did read that, but that was a thing of beauty, as Keith says. Yeah, I like that. There's in that story. I know I said not to read, but you probably said that first story. There's been it's kind of a comment on the LA riots, maybe because there's been a mutant beat up on the news. Do you remember the Rodney King riots? And there's
that would have been about the
mutants
same
been
time.
beat up by the police on the news, and now everything's gone crazy. But I do like that there's a group called the Expatriates, as in X-Men. And there's this guy who's his ability is to rust. He can rust things. That's why he can't rust the bullets, because they're just randoms, bogeys, or whatever. But he's got the weirdest costume I've ever seen. It's just a big green. I don't know what he is. He looks like a cucumber, a metal cucumber.
He's got if I'm thinking of the right one, he's got a sort of massive, it's a massive sort of helmety type thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And as Random's walking in, there are lots of police around.
Yeah.
And he says, "What are you going to do? Go for your guns." And they go for their guns, and they're all rusting. So I thought, is that his power? He can rust metal. But as you say, he's somehow absorbed that from this other character, whoever it is.
Oh no, I think the other character's doing it to the police.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
So as in they can't. There's no way they can get to this guy because he's rusting their guns. So they've had to call in Random to do the job that other people can't do.
And he can counter. He can counter other people's powers.
Yeah,
The
that's the idea.
description I read was he's got a sort of random mutagenic ability to counter others, but mostly his power seems to be generating a big gun arm.
Yeah.
Did he actually counter any other powers?
I don't think he does, really.
There is a woman who spins round him, and he spins the other way, or he creates a whirlwind that goes the other way.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
Which I imagine was very hard to draw, so they just don't really bother. He just says it. I quite like him. I like he's a big goo man. I like his big gun arm. But then in that second one, Dan, I tried to save you from that because there was a lot of words, a lot of unnecessary text, and you were probably like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
But in that one, I've said they've lost. I like his original costume, even though it's kind of. I like the Dog the Bounty Hunter look, but they seem to have gone a bit right, said Fred. I think in that second appearance, he looks a bit sexy, too sexy for his shirt. Wearing kind of a lot of leather straps. Terrible. I've written.
Yeah, they've gone more with the sort of skin tight lycra outfit, the traditional.
But with bits missing, so he's showing his nipples and stuff. Doesn't really fit with the tough guy image. But yeah, then he turns out he's I love the Peter David X Factor is brilliant. I recommend it to anyone. I think once Peter David leaves, it kind of falls apart. But it seems he's having a relationship with Polaris, or he's friends with her or something.
He's got a crush on her at one point.
Right.
I don't know whether it's reciprocated, but he's definitely got a crush on her.
But actually, he's a little teenage boy. Which is quite a funny idea that the whole thing was a front.
Yeah.
If you're a teenage boy with those powers, you would go, actually, I'm going to make myself look like a badass.
He does a lot of knocking around with dodgy groups after this. He spends a bit of time with the Weapon X organization, with the Brotherhood of Mutants, with the Acolytes, all various slightly dodgy groups. But ultimately, he ends up joining up with Abigail Brand in Sword during the Cohen era.
Yeah.
And spend some time on Mars, which is a perfectly normal thing to say in comics.
Right.
Lovely. I think I like to think he'd blossom there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think he just needs that space. He needs to kind of accept himself, doesn't he? We've all, as a teenager, we all put on an act, didn't we?
He needs to get in touch with his inner protoplasm.
Yes. He's all protoplasm, that guy. Well, they just have a kind of 90s curtains David Beckham haircut that just sprouts somehow from his otherwise bald head. Right, let's stick these dweebs in the order. Where should we start? What about, who was the first one? Swordsman. Is he right at the bottom? I like to leave it
He's-
to you guys.
Pretty poor. I didn't
quite low.
mind there being a sort of sword version of Hawkeye type thing going on where it's like, you know, you're the range person, I'm the close quarter person. We could be a team and we could steal things. And Hawkeye said no. I didn't mind it. Like if you compare it, I keep comparing to the one where it was, I think the Chinese superhero. I can't even remember.
Arrow.
the name.
Arrow.
Arrow. Like, I still don't think it's as out naff as that. I think
So you're not
there's-
putting him in the bottom of the. He's not bottom of the barrel.
I don't think he's
not
bottom, but he's pretty darn close.
He's pretty low, isn't he? Obviously, some of these, Dan, you haven't. What about agents? What about any of the agents? So, Dan, you weren't here for the Order, who are truly boring characters.
All right.
Nick, do you think he's better than the Order? I mean, the creator of the Order would be like, I put loads of work into that. He's just a man with a sword.
I mean, is he better than Red Hulk?
Maybe not.
No.
I know Red Hulk's a naff idea, but so is a man with a sword.
Yeah.
Should we put him one below Red Hulk?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Happy with that, Dan?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jacques Duquesne.
Should he be called Jack the Sword as well?
Jacques
I mean-
he should. That's a good point,
They
actually.
blew that.
Or
didn't they?
Duquesne sword, which is a thing, isn't it?
yeah,
Where you have a
yeah.
shum, you know. Who else have we got? White Tiger and Angela specifically. We can't do Hector. You've got to have a system or it's chaos.
Yeah.
Angela, where does she go?
I feel like she's got potential that they just don't really use because that first appearance was really good.
Yeah. She's got to be better than Alexander Pierce, surely. Should we put her one below Dracula?
I feel like maybe she should go above Dracula because
Come on, Nick. You take us home.
he's not very good in the Marvel universe. He's a bit
He's
boring.
not. He's quite annoying.
Yeah, put her above Dracula.
Just one above Dracula, below
Yeah.
Madam Web. Okay. This is
Yeah,
important work. This is important work. That's what we have to keep telling each other. There's a lot going on in the world, but this is important work. Finally, okay, Sons of the Tiger, where do they go in the group? Are they bottom of the groups? Are they below even the Order? I kind of adore them, but they are terrible. They are just three men, one of whom's a massive racist.
They just seem a bit boring in that last appearance. And
They are
just-
literally just three men doing karate. I don't even think the amulets work. It'd be funny if it turns out the amulet, not even in a kind of, the power's in you all along, but literally like those don't work. You're just doing karate. Like
They just give up.
anyone who learned karate could do this. There's nothing in those amulets.
They just give up really easily as well. They're like, oh, we've had a bit of a fight. That's it. It's over.
Yeah. All right, we're going to put them at the bottom.
All right. Okay. I'm
There's
not
so
fighting
much
back,
tension.
really.
You're not fighting against that, Nick?
I think that's fine.
Okay.
I've taken the amulet off, chucked it in the bin.
Yeah.
We've chucked them in the bin.
Yeah.
And finally, random. Dan, they're quite middling characters, aren't they? But I don't know, maybe you're going to pull an abyss on me here.
Yeah, not quite. No. I would enjoy this character, perhaps, maybe if they really lean into it. Like I like everything you've said about there being this teenager who's got this like strange power to become whatever he wants to become, and it leads him down dark paths and he makes bad decisions, and there's sort of a coming of age type thing going on, maybe, and in a kind of shape-shifty way, he can perhaps, I don't know, imitate people and stuff like that. If all that is kind of explored, then yeah, but is it like, or is it just a bit?
It's not really, but I was thinking in terms of deciding this, I guess you have to kind of, you ultimately have to review or rate them when they're at their best. I was thinking is maybe that's the rule. Do you know what I mean?
Okay.
As in, because there's obviously crapper comics for everyone and better comics for everyone.
Is this him at his best then?
I think that first one is.
All right.
I think pretty much, yeah. He does come back a few times, but yeah, I thought that was a good. I like
He's
that it was
alright.
called. The issue's called random violence, which appears within a sentence, within a speech bubble. Someone says, "We don't want any random violence." It's done as the title. That's pretty cool.
I quite like it when they do that and put the title of the issue in a speech bubble. It's cheesy, but I quite like it.
Yes. Should we put him one above Red Guardian? And we're talking comics Red Guardian here, not Thunderbolts Red Guardian, who is fantastic, by the way. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I'm putting him in there. Someone's got to make a bloody decision here. Thank you all so much for listening. I've had lots of fun. I've drunk 2 Amstel beers, and I've got a lot off my chest. I won't lie. That, as always, took at least 40 minutes longer than I thought it would, but it was wonderful. We've put 4 more characters in the order. This is important work, and don't forget, patreon.com/abombtozzzax if you want to support us and keep this ship moving. And also contact Nick if you want to on abombtozzzax at Google. I think these beers are really kicking in. abombtozzzax at gmail.com.
There we go. You got there in the end.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks for listening. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye.
Shaflang.
Shaflang.
You have been listening to abombtozzzax, my favorite Marvel character, with me, Colin Holt, and my friends Dan Snellgrove, Nick Kirk, and Jamie Firth. There they go! Please remember to support us at patreon.com/abombtozzzax.